Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I wanted to show you some of the work that I've been doing on the LunaMobile. It's a GMC Savana 3500 from 2001. For those of you who may need to do the same repairs, I figured I'd post this video of what's been going on with it lately and what I've been doing to it. This thing has over 300,000 miles on it, so the only thing that's going to really stop it from being on the road at this point is just causing a bunch of stupid little issues, not keeping up with it. I do plan on selling the van at some point. I prefer to get something that probably has a more comfortable ride, better seat, maybe cruise control, because this one doesn't, and driving it to Florida, really uncomfortable to drive long distances. But the van would still be great for someone needing it as a work van or a haul van. But until I decide to do that, I wanted to at least make sure that this thing's safe for me to drive around with Luna in it, since it's her van after all. Anyway, so we drove it to Florida and back, and then a bit around wintertime, where I should mention that there's a ton of salt on the road out here. I haven't really done many inspections on the van since we were down south. In the summer, I plan on using it again to go out of town, so began kind of giving it a look over. There's some parts like the front cowl. It's the plastic piece that goes below the windshield. It holds washer fluid hoses and also deflects rocks off the window by creating an airstream barrier. It allows for some air in and out of the engine bay too. Anyway, without it, if you remember any of the streams I did in the van, there's some really loud wind noise when the cam is mounted on the dashboard. And it was all because of the wind hitting the windshield, making all that noise as it was going through those cracks. I also noticed that this seal around the windshield was always too short, so maybe the previous owner tried to replace it, but got the wrong size. I'm not sure. Replacing this will divert the rainwater too from the seals on the windshield that help keep the windshield glued onto the actual van. So yeah, keeping that glue clean and free from water, all the air hitting it and everything will make it last a lot longer for sure. And around the van, I noticed that the rust was getting way worse, and I figured why not start learning some rust repair. I might as well fix what I can before it gets way worse. So I began sanding it and grinding it down, most of the parts that I could anyway, and filled it in with Bondo and probably a bit of my sweat. And there were other parts that were larger holes, and I ended up adding fiberglass and resin to it, then Bondo to smooth things out. And there's still a couple parts that I needed to finish underneath, but I kind of needed a break. I also noticed that the stores near me were out of that Victory red color that I believe is what my van is. I may have to just eventually order it online to cover up the spots that I repaired, and hopefully the outside will look a lot nicer again. And while doing all that work, I noticed that there's a few more things that really needed repairs, like the sway bar, or they call it a stabilizer bar as well. It had a huge chunk broken off of it due to the rust, and I tried calling around for some parts at some junkyards around here, but there's not really much in this area, so I ended up just ordering one online from one of the local stores and just picked it up there when it arrived. I figured while I was down there I might as well repair the rest of the suspension, and found that the parts that I needed were on sale at Rock Auto. So I believe they're just trying to get them off the shelves at this point, but they were pretty cheap, so I figured why not just replace the rest of the stuff. Once I got those parts in, I decided to film the process for anyone else who may be looking to change out these suspension parts on an old van like this. Let me warn you, it's a pain in the ass. But if you're determined enough and you have the right tools, it'll probably save you like an extra $500 from taking it to a mechanic. Just make sure you do have all the right tools before, because otherwise you'll just be cursing the whole time. Enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, here's where I'm at with the van. These bolts here broke in there from the mount, the shock mount. So I'm going to pull this whole thing out so that I can try and drill it. And while this is out, got new bushings for the ball joints, well, actual new ball joints to replace these, because these are all broken up. I'll probably have to get the tool to do that one. And I got a couple other parts too here. Let me see what all came. I think these are the ball joints, yeah. She take the stick from you.
She likes Steve. That's rude.
It's her stick now. Try to pull you up.
She likes me.
Let me see. These are supposed to be the bushings that go into these big arms here.
Is it on?
I don't think so. I think basically these are supposed to be pressed in to those down here. So when we pull these out, we'll probably have to press out the old ones and then put these in its place, you know? I don't know if it says whether these are outer or inner or anything like that on them, but it looks like they're different sizes, so it'll probably not fit in the wrong one, unlikely. That says it's a ball joint, but it's not.
Yeah. So there's no instructions.
No, there's no instructions. They don't put instructions in this stuff. This one has some info though about the product, if that counts.
Use your talk hands. Your man arms.
See, look at how much tighter this is in comparison to what the other ones were spinning like.
This?
No, like pull the ball, the joint. This metal bar, like do this with it.
I can't.
You can.
I can't.
You got this. Try the other side. Yeah, see?
Oh.
See how much harder it is?
Yeah.
Now look at this one here.
I'm trying to prove that.
Look at this. Can you see it? How easy it is to just move it? So it shouldn't be that easy. So that's how you know when you take the stuff off if the boot's not broken. But this is like wiggling super easy. Sometimes it doesn't have any grease in it. I don't think these, yeah, these are greasable. So where's the grease gun? I'll bring this too. Sometimes you need to take off rings. That goes on that, and then you'll squeeze it until you see a little bit of grease coming out, but don't do it now. That's what you would do if they didn't come greased. I would need to put them on first.
Are they greased?
I don't know yet. I will check, but let's get this thing off so I can drill it and get the holes, and then we'll try and get those other guys punched in. And I guess let me see what this is. The bolts right there and on the other side. That's it. Everything else is already off from what we did the other day.
Take that crazy heavy dangly thing off.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Might want to push that back down. Looks like there's still some grease. A little bit, not much. It probably needs to be replaced, but that's okay. This way. Okay, so the bolt that's right here and there we need to take off. And then if the upper bushings are in there, it should say it on the sheet, but if it says the upper ones are in there, because I don't know if those are the upper or lower, but those will depend on whether we take this arm off. Well, this one's gonna come off anyway, so yell it like.
Today we're gonna take off these nuts.
I'm not very enthusiastic about what I got to do here because it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of a
know.
pain in the ass,
But
to be honest.
Always so happy.
He is. He's super excited about doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I would rather be driving and having fun.
We're gonna shoot some grease in our balls.
Our balls need to be greased, yes.
Our balls.
Yes, our ball joints.
Oh yeah. We're gonna put some grease on our balls.
You got some holy balls. All right, so that's what we're taking off. All right, I got this one off by using this, which was a 24 millimeter, I guess. Now I gotta get that one out. And pull the spring out too, so we can clean it. Put some de-ruster on all this and scrub it down. Maybe I'll get a new one of these as well while I'm there. Might as well. So I'm gonna have to get the tool to do this. Okay, it took a bunch of brute force, but we got it. Now, can you wash this one too? Thanks. Here, I'll bring it here. See, those bushings there will have to get pressed out or knock them out and then get the new ones in. No, they're not that easy. You want to get it lubed up a little bit? And this one? No, this is...
Yes.
That's just the bushing,
No.
so... You're going to have to just knock them out. I'll show you how. Fine, once it's wet, it'll probably be easier to get them out anyway without all that dirt. This you don't have to wash here because we're going to pull this thing out.
Okay.
This guy. Actually, let me see if I can get this guy out real quick. And then when you wash it, it'll be easier because we got to wash inside the hole. It's a dirty, dirty hole. Damage number 1. My vein. It hurts. You know, like when you go to get your IV and then they fucking smack your hand and it hurts really bad? So these are the 2 bolts that broke. I want to show you. Okay, there's 2 ways that we can remove them. See how that one's deep in there and this one's up? So this one that's up, sometimes if it's not super rusty like that, you can just make a slice in it with like a Dremel or something and then put like a screwdriver in and unscrew it. if it's loose, like kind of loose. Just since this one's all rusty in, it's probably not going to be that easy. So I have a tool that you can like drill a hole and then it does like a reverse spin, so it tries to pull it out. Probably also not going to work for this though, because it's rusty in. So the third way, I guess, I thought there was two, but there's a third way. We're just going to put a fucking drill in it about the size of this hole and just drill right through all that metal and get the metal out. And then I have a tapping kit that we can put back in there and turn, and it'll make new threads. And if the threads are just a little bit bigger than normal, then we'll have to put like a little bit of a bigger bolt in there than normally goes, and it'll still hold it in. Because remember, all it is like this weird thing that goes over here that holds the shock. So as long as there's a way to put a bolt to hold it down, this thing we'll have to press out. These guys will have to press out or slam out. Stuff that's rusty, once it's clean, we'll spray it down so it doesn't get worse. Because right now it's like kind of okay. All right, so this thing here, it's called a bump stop. It stops this from bottoming out. When the shocker springs don't do their job and you hit a bump that's too big or something like that, this stops it from actually hitting against the metal. And we couldn't find these. I called a couple local stores and they didn't have it. We didn't even know what it was called at first. I looked up everything like lower control arm. Like they were looking at bushings, but I was trying to explain to him these are the bushings. Everything on O'Reilly's computers was coming up as just bushings, and the full control arm assembly, they didn't have even this on the assembly that came with it. But Ashley was able to find it. It's called a bump stop, so if anybody's looking for one of these. But it was like 56 bucks, I think, for both of them on their website, and they don't have them in stock, so I would have to order them anyway, and then you got to pay for shipping. So what I'm going to do is put this back on for now. I'll see if I can find one somewhere else. It's still there, so it'll be working a little bit. It's just not doing very well. It's kind of sick. Now these things that are stuck, we got this thing, stud extractor, so I'm going to try to go ahead and tighten it on those, see if I can get it off, because luckily on this side here, you can see that on this side it's still sticking up. So that's what that picture says. This thing's not easy to get out either, no matter how hard you hit it. And then when you go to put the new one in, it'll get ruined if you're just hitting it, banging up against it. So you can either take like a press, pump that up to push it back in place, but you need like something perfectly round that'll go on the back thing here. You don't want to hit it on these greasable fittings or anything here, because it'll just bend in and then ruin the ball joint. So you kind of want to get something that fits around that. So I went to the auto store, rented the tool for that, which is this. It's a ball joint press. And you put this basically over it, and then you ratchet that down and it pushes it. That one's too big, so we'll get the smaller one that goes around this part so we can push it out. But it actually comes out this way. I'm also gonna scrape most of this down. I've already sprayed it with some de-ruster stuff, but I'm gonna spray it some more and then probably spray it with some Rust-Oleum spray paint and get this completely covered up again, hopefully to keep the rust from getting worse anytime soon. All right, now that my whole backyard is completely rearranged with tools, I got this thing cleaned off. And now that the control arm's cleaned off, I basically took the Dremel and a bit, cleaned it all off so that it'll make it easier to slide in. So now all that rust is gone. I'm gonna spray all of this with some Rust-Oleum stuff, but I have a better one. I got a couple different ones here that I'm gonna spray. It's kind of all I've got left over at the moment. Let's see if we can get like a small layer of this and then finish it up with that. I tied this bitch to the fence and we sprayed it. Now I just gotta wait for it to dry. But it's like brand new. Oh, I can't wait to do the other side. How to put away the big mess, because it definitely is a big mess. The box of the extra stuff came in. Falcor wants the box. Falco, are you trying to take the box? He wants in the box. He's like, in my box. Falco, are you trying to steal a box? So these should be the front and the back shock.
Are they?
It looks like it. I will see. Here, Falco, you can get in. Get in. Oh, look, we got another sweet magnet with a different car on it.
Yay!
I'm gonna start stacking these on the fridge.
Hard arms.
Yes, rock hard arms.
Strong rock hard Armstrong. What?
Yeah, that. Falco, get in the box.
Get the box.
Alright, look, so this is the old shock that was inside the van. There's some sort of part number here in case anyone wants to look it up. But I just wanted to show you the difference between this crappy one and the new one. So this one here, if we push it down, it's a little bit of force, but I can kind of do it one-handed. It's going down, and then it stays there. So the new one pops right back up on its own, and it's a lot harder to push down. All right, so here's the new one right next to it. And like, I can't push this down with one hand no matter how hard I try. But I did upstairs with two hands, and it came right back up exactly to the spot where it is. This one still hasn't come up at all. So this is definitely shot. Looks like all the oil is just escaping from it anyway, so all the seals are probably bad. I don't know how to rip these open though. I thought it twists open with that lid, but I couldn't get it to. So I just don't really have the right tools to grab onto that properly. I'm wondering if anyone else knows, let me know. I'm gonna see how bad the seals are in there. But yeah, this is the new one. Looks like it matches. Same size and everything, so I'll go ahead and just put it in the van. All right, Goth Mechanics episode number, I don't even know anymore.
Look how dirty I am. I'm a dirty girl. Today I'm gonna show you how to change some bars. Yeah! Change bars on cars. I'm excited, yeah!
Yeah, the other one snapped.
What?
The other one is snapped. That's a lot of rust. All right, so these are gonna go back up here. This is gonna go through here, through the bar. So we can put those there. And then we put the other things there with this, and then it's back on. Got it?
That was amazing instructions.
Yes, that's exactly how you do it.
Put this thing here and this thing here, and then we're gonna put it in there, and then we're good.
All right, one side down. Almost. I'm just gonna get the other one. Are you jacking it on?
I'm gonna jack it off.
Just need it close enough for me to put the bolts on.
It's pulling the ass. Is that okay?
Yeah. That's not tight in yet. That should be good,
I don't
right?
like that sound.
All right, hang on, let me see. So here's the old one. And this piece is supposed to be like that. But that cracked off, which means there's not much metal holding it on. So I had to replace it before that broke. This side's what it's supposed to look like. Here's the new one. You can tell because it's not all rusty. Looks like it's all in and good now. Now to do the rest. Here's the part I painted, the lower control arm. Painted it yesterday. It's not the best paint job in the world because there's a little moisture, it looks like, still on here, but I might just spray another layer on there real quick. Hopefully it at least survives a bit longer now that there's some anti-rust paint on there. I'm just taking off this last bolt here so we can take a look at how bad it was. I know this is all rusty already because it's old, but I'll put those in there in case I need them another time. Let's see how bad this is. Because it doesn't look like the boot's all ripped up on this one, so it's still pretty new-ish. Like in the sense that it's reusable. Like this probably just really needs to be cleaned out, re-greased and everything, because it's not as hard as like the new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to show, because like, see how easy this moves?
That boot is not made for walking.
Would have probably been okay for a while longer, because I don't see like a ton of rips in here, anything like that. But let's put the new one on and see. You got the new one here?
Yes.
There's no grease or anything that I see coming out, so it's empty. But look at how hard that is in comparison to this one, which is just like super easy. Hey Falco, welcome back.
A wild Falco appears and then leaves. How long is this thing? It can only be as long as this.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck?
It's in Narnia.
It's like a magic fucking wormhole. Stick it in. Stick it in the thing. Ah.
Almost. It'll be easier on the way back.
I'm about to get whacked.
It's a long stick.
Tyrone Stickson.
Just careful so you don't go flying when it pops out.
I might.
You might.
Oh!
You got it.
I
Nice.
fucking got it! Yeah!
Teamwork.
High five.
Now I gotta get this thing out. And the bushing.
Okay. So we have this here pusher outer. It's a stud extractor. Oh, it looks like it's working.
Let's see. From this side.
Oh, it's working.
Let's see if it's actually working. Oh, give me some fucking gooey spray. Oh, it's right
Something's
here.
on my back.
I got it.
Some gooey spray.
Yeah, just so it's not breaking, you know. Wow, that was easy. I thought it was gonna be way harder than that. That's a good tool. It was $20. And I didn't have to re-tap it or drill a hole or any of that. Nice. Yeah, and it's out.
Yeah. Ta-da!
Oh yeah, look at that.
Fuck yeah.
Now how the hell did we get this thing out? One of these guys. Oh no, it's got a little fucking crack. We're returning it. It's damaged. You see it though?
How did that happen? Already?
It was like that.
Oh. Was it?
Unless we dropped it and it chipped a piece. I don't remember dropping it. Not hard enough to chip a piece like that. I'm just kidding though, because that's not gonna affect it.
Bug hit me in the face. Hold.
Don't breathe this.
But don't we have to take this out too?
Yeah, so normally like you can stick like a socket or something that fits over. So like, where's my big ass one here? So like something like that, you know, and then just use that to press. But I need something that fits around that thing. I don't know. Let me see. This will push at least this out easier.
It's not gonna
Look
like.
at that. Look at that.
It's not gonna like fly out.
No. It's in there so fucking tight.
It's gonna go.
And then I wonder why my wrist always hurts.
Yeah.
It's not from doing this. It's from doing this. Oh, look at that.
Hell yeah.
I guess this bushing wasn't so horrible, but it's still cracked.
Yeah.
Now we gotta get this metal out somehow.
Alright, I'll go grab a ring. A cock ring.
We need a ring.
A cock
ring.
a cock ring. So we found this thing with these weird ring dudes.
So those go on that handle, and then you screw it on, and then you use it to put it over something that you need to push in, and then you hammer it down into place.
And the jack.
Put it here.
And it popped this thing out.
Yep.
Where's the thing?
Okay, so where's the metal one?
It popped that out. Right there.
Okay, yeah. So this was in there all rusty.
And it scared the fuck out of both of us because it went.
It popped out, yeah, really hard. It seemed like if we weren't paying attention, it was gonna fly out and hit one of us really hard and hurt.
Yeah.
But what happened was it actually just loosened it up enough to where it popped out. It just made a loud ass sound because this went up into here and hit the metal. really hard once this popped out because of all the pressure. So it went clank, and it scared the shit out of us.
Yeah.
But it worked because this fits in that hole perfectly.
Yeah.
So I was able to push this part out. So now we got to do the other side. If I get tetanus, it's gonna suck. But
tetanus ain't fun.
Have you had it?
No.
So has anybody you know had it?
That shit fucks you. You want to know why? Because they all have their fucking shots. You have had at least one.
I don't remember ever. Maybe when I was a child.
Yeah, like physicals. When you get your physicals and shit, when you're a kid.
Maybe here.
Otherwise, you probably would have already had tennis by now.
Probably. That's accurate.
Yeah. Spray it with the goo.
Wait,
don't pop it off in my face.
I just want to get it to like show that it's kind of coming up a little, but it might need to be done this way. What happened? The oil leaked to one side and now it's not pumping.
Yeah.
There we go.
Scaring me.
Yeah, I don't want to bend this thing either, so I might have to pull back a little bit again, like I did the first time. Ooh, there it went. I heard it. That was definitely a crack for rust being loosened.
Cool.
Yeah, it's slowly popping up though.
Mama bird. Oh, you can't even see. Ah!
There we go. It came.
Got that.
Okay. No, these were the hard ones. So now this here should be easier because we have the cup for it. I'll find the right one.
Look at this pouring.
Oh yeah, I'm all dirty.
Dirty.
Dirty knees, look at these. Alright, so we got everything off. We used the ball joint remover tool to get that thing out, which was a nightmare, but it worked. We had to heat it up a bit so that this would expand, so we took a torch to it. And it's not good to take a torch to it when you're trying to put the new one on because you don't want to mess up the bushing, the rubber stuff by heating it, you know?
Right.
And the grease too.
But to take it out, it's okay. Oh,
yeah,
they just took a crap.
Bird
just took a crap.
I'll clean this off and get some of the rust off. I'm going to spray it with anti-rust spray once I get it. I scrubbed it down with some sandpaper too so that we get most of the rust off as much as I could. I also had some drill bits that go in that like scrape everything off. But yeah, I'll get as much clean as possible, put some rust resolver stuff on there, remover, and then we'll paint it and put it back on with the bushings and everything.
Oh, they were taking craps on us.
I'm just taking this upper ball joint off now. It's literally just these 4 bolts here on the top and then the one castle nut that has the pin through it underneath this steering knuckle. Careful so this doesn't pull on the cables, because if these break, these are your brake lines and you're gonna have to replace them and it's fucking pain. So this got cut from the previous owner. The brake lines got some cuts in here, but I don't know if it's actually leaking or not. I mean, it looks like there's a little bit of fluid, but it could just be dirty from or wet from when I was cleaning it. I'll have to like take this off and put a new one on and keep an eye on it, because that could be also why we're leaking some fluids, because we always have to kind of refill it. Yeah. I also added some paint, sanded down and cleaned this thing, the spring. It looks a little like bent. Like if you look at it with your eyes, it looks a little bent. I don't know if probably looks bent to you guys too. It doesn't look like it's very straight. Could probably do better with some new ones, but for now, I'm gonna use them because those are expensive and I already replaced enough parts, so we'll do that another time. And since I have it, I'm just gonna go ahead and just throw all this stuff in the rust remover. Added some here too. And it looks like it's a lot cleaner and it looks better than it did, so I'm gonna clean it off one more time to get the dust off from the rust that I scraped off yesterday and just spray it down, kind of keep it off. You can see the difference here, how grimy that is in comparison to that. Dude, we spent like 2 days trying to figure out how to get this thing on. It was a big pain because these are kind of bent a bit from just being old and everything. So I had to put a socket in here to kind of keep it pried open. I hammered it in, and I made this tool here out of one of my, whatever this is called, I can't even remember right now, I'm just so out of energy, but this thing, cut a hole bigger in this to fit this huge screw through there, big ass bolts, and then just started screwing it in. As you can see, this is allowing it to come through the hole. This is just helping press it so it doesn't break through the wood. I mean, ideally a piece of metal would have been better for that piece, but I don't have something thick enough I can drill through here, and I didn't feel like spending 30 bucks on a piece of metal at the hardware store. So this worked for now. It looks like it's pretty much all the way in. There's like a little tiny gap there, and I started hitting it with a hammer, and it looks like it's starting to close that gap. So I'm gonna do it a couple more times and then probably check it, see how it came out, and start on the next one. Look at how much force this thing took to get it in there. I got some of these washers are all stuck in here now. Let's see if I can get this through. Look at the damage on that. Almost went all the way through. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. All right, well, that thing's in, so that's good. Fucking only took me like a week to get it. Okay, by the power of Grayskull, this thing's back in. More work to do though. Still gotta get this on. A couple more things, and then we'll be done. Can tidy this up, finish spray painting it, and get a new one of these still, but yeah, fuck that for now. All right, and we're back on. I had to fight with this so much to get it back on, but as you can see now, the new everything is on. Hopefully it holds together all right. I'm gonna go for a test drive. Haven't done this side yet, but that's next. I'm gonna have to take a break for a few days. The tie rod ends probably should be replaced, but that boot on that side there looks fine. I just added some more grease, so it looks like that filled up. I tried adding some grease here, but some of it started coming out the side, so it might, that boot might be broken on that. This whole side needs to be redone though, and re-greased and all that. But for now, I'll test drive it like this, and we'll see if there's any big difference or not. Either way, it needed to get done. What a pain in the dick. A lot of the tutorials I saw said to just go ahead and put it back together the way you took it off, but it's not that easy. You need 2 jacks at least. You need a bunch of jack stands so you can start moving stuff up and down as you need it to get everything kind of in the way. Also, to get that shock back in, I had a hard time, so I took some zip ties. I compressed the shock all the way down so that the rod was bottomed out. Put the zip tie around it to hold it all together so it stayed down, kind of like the rear ones come. And then as I put it in there, I took the zip ties off, and it started slowly coming up. Like the rod started decompressing to come up, and as it was coming up, I held it and kind of positioned it into place. We tried doing it with the rod up, and I just kept having a hard time. It kept going into the wrong corner, and it wouldn't be able to be pushed. Those new bushings are pretty tight, so like I couldn't really bend it the right way. I tried taking off the 2 bolts so everything was like easily movable, and no, I still had a hard time. So I ended up just taking it back out, compressing the spring, doing it that way. And of course, when I put it in right the first time, I realized I forgot the bushing, so I in the top part, so I had to take it back apart and put it back up again with the bushing the second time. So just like everything else, I had to take everything off and put it back on like 3 times. And she's howling.